like to make one. I would just like to make one small correction to what was said. I'm not rejoining the Katong Center because I never left my, whether it's me or my family, we never
I
left
wanted
the
to say
Katong
that,
Center.
Brother Prasad, I wanted to say that too. You have not left Katong.
Yes, my apologies. I should have said rejoined, reconnected.
So actually, this is, I mean it when I say that. As a family, we have always felt, continue to be part of the center. And I just, as I said to the EHV students 2-3 days back, Katong has given so much to me and my family, and I can't express enough in words. And when we're talking for this Chinese New Year and being part of this Chinese New Year, my mind races back 22 years back. My introduction to Katong also mainly was through this Chinese New Year, because as soon as I landed in Singapore, within a matter of 3 days, this retreat, at that time we went to Mersing in Malaysia. So I think under the able captainship of Brother Tarun here, who literally wielded the stick to wake up people in the morning for Omkaram, Suprabhadam and everything. So my introduction to Katong Center and all the members was through the Chinese New Year. And after 22, 23 years, what shall I say, that wonderful link which Swami had created continues. And I genuinely treasure it and value it. And one more thing, I genuinely take this opportunity to fold my hands and pray for all those senior uncles and aunties, senior brothers and sisters, and so many members of Katong Sai Center since then until now, who have maintained a family atmosphere. When it came to Katong, it was never just a Sai Center, it was always a Sai family. And it remained for us at that time, and it continues to remain for us even to this day. So some of them may or may not be here today. Some of them have reached the lotus feet of the Lord also in some of the members. But at this juncture, I just put my hands together and remember all of them and pray that this kind of opportunity keeps coming to us time and again. And just before I get started, I just wanted to tell one more thing, like Muniratham sir was just mentioning. It's not about a person directing or bringing or coming here. Even I was brought to the Sai Center by Brother Ganti. It was because of Brother Ganti I got to know about Sai Center. But each person has somebody who brings them to the center. But the beauty of this is, it was very well put. Again, I take this opportunity to remember Brother Tarun's mother, Ba, as we say in Gujarati, Brother Tarun's mother, once told me, she said that you have some, she used the word Runanu Bandhan. I mean, we say that some kind of a umbilical cord kind of relationship, with the center. And that's why you could come from somewhere, be part of it. And when the time has come, you're moving out. I just extended this to think about everybody who comes to the Sai Center, that there is some link which has been there, which has been coming for us from life maybe. And Swami has brought together this group of people together in the Sai Center to learn from each other and to progress spiritually also, holding each other's hand. So this has been my understanding, and this is the way I treasure Katong Sai Center, and I look up to all the members here. And I think with this, let me launch into it. So my very, very sincere pranams at the lotus feet of Mother Sai. All brothers and sisters, uncles, and senior members who are here, Sairam to all of you. I really feel very happy to be here today and spending this time with all of you. This, let me start off with one thing, as was mentioned. This pandemic has changed a lot of things for everybody. It upset the basic, on the face of it, basic rhythm of life which was going on for everybody. And I don't think there is anybody who is unaffected by the change which has happened in the last 2 years in their own way. Some people very drastically, some people to a lesser extent. So nobody could say that they have remained unaffected by this pandemic. And in certain cases, many of us have also lost dear family members. In our case, our family also, we lost quite a few relatives to this pandemic in the last 2 years. So, but leaving aside this disruption which has happened in our life, uh, if one were to really think about it, this pandemic has also given us one wonderful opportunity to understand, can we do away with a lot of things which we thought were very essential for our life? Maybe this pandemic gave us an opportunity to understand and think, do we need so many other things? I'm not talking about only material items. I'm not talking about just certain hobbies or fascinations which we might have had, but genuinely, can one keep looking inwards? Because once you are forced to stay indoors, lockdown, and in our case, thankfully, it was only for 40 days in Bangalore. I live in Bangalore in India. So we had a proper lockdown only for 40 days, which was in March and April. March, April, and until early part of May 2020. After that, we never had a total lockdown in Bangalore, I'm saying. So, but that 45 days itself set a tone as to how do we re-regulate our life, and many of the things which we do, is it necessary? I'll just put it in a proper way. Is it necessary for me to go out and meet all my social contacts so regularly? Is it necessary for me to go to different restaurants and in the pretext of meeting up with family, friends, do I need to do that? And in the pretext of doing my job, do I need to travel so much? In the pretext of doing a spiritual life, do I need to travel so much to so many pilgrimage centers in India? Of course, they were very important. It gave a good foundation for me in my life. But can I look to seeing the God well within me, sitting in my own room, in my own house, and see how do I connect better rather than need to go outside and do it? So on and so forth. And you realize that a lot of things which we are doing, everybody will have their own learnings here. A lot of things which we are doing just falls away, and life becomes more simpler and simpler. And now US, they're using this word minimalistic. This term has become very, very popular in US. But actually, if you see, it's a fact of life. The pandemic has taught that. So I would like to think it has been a very positive experience, personally speaking, last 2 years. And it enabled one to literally move faster and go ahead in terms of spiritual quest and spiritual journeys. So I look at it very, very positively, and it has been a good time this last 2 years to connect with Swami as it were. Now, coming to this topic, overcoming challenges with Swami. 2 years back, just before this pandemic started, I just stepped back from what I was doing, because there has been an inner call happening in me ever since 2005, I would say, 2005, 2006. Once Swami suffered the fall, and then Swami was recovering, and thereafter a lot of discourses which Swami gave, Swami kept on touching on one particular aspect repeatedly. He used to just say, Dehabhimanam taginchu, Atmabhimanam penchu. In Telugu, he used to say, reduce your body attachment and increase your Atmic attachment. So, Swami, if you carefully listen to discourses after 2005 and you just go through it, Swami will touch upon this point time and again. So, this just set in motion a lot of thoughts in my mind. And I was also actually, as a student, when I was there, when I was studying in Swami's Institute, I'm saying 35 years back, Swami in one occasion just called me and asked me, who are you? I didn't know what to answer. I just looked at Swami. Swami repeated, who are you? So in such occasions, we just fold our hands and just indicate Swami only has to say, I don't know who I am. Then Swami answered back saying, the right answer to the question, who are you, is I am I. Swami repeated, I am I. And then to drive home the point over the next 1 hour, wherever Swami was walking, wherever he was sitting in the mandir, the darshan at the time, Swami kept repeating the question and he answered, I am I. So that to just register into my mind completely. The first time he said inside the interview room, personal interview which I had with Swami. I, at that time, never understood the meaning of, I was hardly 18, 19 years old. So I never understood what the meaning of it. To some extent, in my audacity, I thought, is it grammatically correct? This this sentence that Swami is saying, I am I. But that's about it. I didn't. But post this 2005, when Swami started giving these kind of discourses and when he emphasized on these points, increase your atmic connect. This phrase with Swami, or this Mahavakya, or this great Swami had given to me, just flashed in front of my mind. And I thought, there must be some meaning. Swami told this to me 20, 25 years back at that time. Maybe without that, why would Swami mention this to me? Whatever Swami God utters, it is not a simple superficial words, but there is a deep meaning behind whatever Swami says and does. So I started getting into this, and by Swami's grace, it took me to certain places in this country, and I started spending more time in deep contemplation. And then a lot of things which Swami started telling started making sense to me. What Swami used to tell at 17 years, 18 years, I never understood a lot of those things, and a lot of things which I heard Swami talking in discourse, everything. Certain things which was just too, I would put it in a very, very simple terms, was not, it's above my head kind of words. Slowly started opening up, and new meaning started occurring to me. And I started, I would say, rather than use the word understand, grasping what was being trying to be communicated to me. So this happened. Now, in course of all these things happening, just before this pandemic, in the month of Jan 2020, December 2019 and Jan 2020, I just, out of a blue, again, it's everything, nothing happens without Swami's will, but it is Swami's grace, that me and my friend who studied with me in Swami's Institute is a very ardent Buddhist follower today. He lives in Bombay. So I live in Bangalore. So both of us decided that we'll just go for a Himalayan trek for 15, 20 days. Now, it was a crazy time to choose. January, peak winter, and very diehard enthusiasts go towards Himalayas at this time.
Brother Prasad.
Yeah.
Brother Prasad, sorry, quick one. Can you speak up a little bit? I think some of the participants are finding your voice a bit soft.
Okay.
Yeah, just speak up just slightly.
Yeah. How is it now?
To me, it's good. I think for the rest, just a quick sound check for the rest. Is it okay with everyone?
Yes, it's good. Good for me too.
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we can all increase our volume as well at our end too. Yeah. Okay, Uncle. I think. Okay, Brother Prasad. Over to you. Sorry.
Yeah. So we just went to a part of Himalayas, Dauladhar range of Himalayas above Himachal Pradesh. We went there and we stayed in a very remote location, and we just spent our time, both of us, in divine contemplation, just walking through the mountains, snow-covered mountains. A lot of Buddhist monasteries, Tibetan settlements are there, a lot of people there. And we just spent our time going to various monasteries and just spending time there in the presence of all these great monasteries and huge Buddha statue and everything. So while my friend went whole hog, what I also did is, apart from sitting there in front of the Buddha, I also took the opportunity of spending time in the library of all these monasteries. And in one such library, I was amazed the kind of books they had on Indian culture and Sanatan Dharma and Upanishads. And see, everything happens for a reason. So sitting there, high up, perched in the Himalayas, and I'm just giving you the background so that you understand. The snow-covered mountains and perfect silence. There's absolutely nothing to make your mind waver. And there, when I started opening some of this Upanishadic text, see, my knowledge of Sanskrit is zero. I don't know anything about Sanskrit. Even though born and brought up in India, I never had this opportunity to learn this divine language. And my understanding of all these Upanishads is next to nothing. Whatever I say and narrate was based on what I heard from Swami or I read elsewhere, but never have I had this opportunity of reading and understanding for myself. So this was my first brush with an Upanishad texts and other things. So when I started reading, I came to a beautiful story which is there in the Upanishad. It made a lot of sense to me. Some of you might have heard it. It's about the story of two birds on a tree. If my memory serves me right, it comes in Mundaka Upanishad, among the top 10 Upanishads as highlighted by Adi Shankaracharya, and he wrote commentary for all these 10 Upanishads. So this comes under Mundaka Upanishad, if my memory serves me right. Pardon me if I am making a mistake there, but I'm sure it's Mundaka Upanishad.
Brother, you are right. Mundaka Upanishad.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So that is it. The story goes very simple. It's a metaphor they give in the Upanishad. There is a tree. There is a lower bird, a bird perched on the lower branches, and there is a bird perched on the higher branches. Now the bird which is perched on the lower branches goes about eating the fruits and berries which are there on the tree. Some fruits are bitter, so it has the effect of having eaten a bitter fruit. Some fruits are sweet, so it enjoys the effect of having eaten a sweet fruit. So it keeps hopping from branch to branch and eating and facing the consequence thereof. But when the bird looks up at the higher bird, the bird which is sitting in the higher branches, it is just sitting still, stationary. Stationary is the wrong word to use, sitting still. And it is glowing with the divine effulgence, doing nothing and just observing everything. So this bird at the lower branch looks up. It's enamored by the higher bird. It wants to go up, but again it sees some fruits on the left or right, and it keeps continuing what it is doing. So after some time, it also moves from the tree where it is perched on, it goes to the next tree and continues. Even in the next tree, you see the higher bird sitting in that branch. Now, what is being tried to be explained through this metaphor is the tree by itself is the body which has been given to us, our own body. And the bird sitting on the lower branch is all the mind, intellect, and whatever we in ignorance we think it's us. So all those things become the lower bird. And the higher bird is the divine Atmic consciousness, which is there within us. We can call it Swami within us, the Lord who is within us. We can call it as Atma, we can call it as Brahman, or we can call it as universal consciousness. Doesn't matter, whatever name we give is secondary, but the fact is, it is that one supreme consciousness which is there in each tree. Now, if this bird, lower bird, giving up this or after getting tired at one point of facing the consequence of both bitter and sweet fruits and everything, goes and reaches up closer to it. More it goes closer to it, it starts seeing that even it gets filled with the same effulgence and brightness. And after some time, the bird from the lower branches ceases to exist. And it's only the bird of the higher branch remains. And as a next stage, you also realize that it is the higher bird, which is the very tree, which is there. And it is the entire forest. So in effect, there is nothing else other than the higher bird, which is there everywhere. It was a beautiful metaphor. It made a deep impact on me, sitting up there in Himalayas, as I told you, in that kind of a setting, this monastery. I started putting this in a different context because 15 days back, again, this story, the metaphor was sent to me by one more friend of mine who lives in different part of the country. Now, coming to this point, overcoming challenges with Swami, I put it like this. I just understood it like this. Here is the tree, the life which has been given to me, my body. I am going about hopping, doing my duty as a father, as a brother, as a corporate head or a businessman or a son or so on and so forth, or a Sai Center member or a neighbor, whatever. And I am so fixated on it that certain things I want to do it this way, I want to do it that way. I am having my own frame of mind going about doing all these things. And I suffer the consequence of both good and bad, or happiness and sorrow, or the dualities you can call it, as they use it in Sanskrit, raga and dvesha. I have a liking for certain things, I have hatred for certain things, whether I like it or not. It keeps on going and we keep fumbling. We finish our life, we move on. But there, the Swami is sitting right there at the higher branch and sitting still with all the effulgence and beckoning to us. This is where we belong. We need to come up to that level and reach closer to Swami. So the moment we understand this and start moving closer and closer to the higher bird or the Swami within us, then the concept of enjoying the fruit or eating this fruit or doing the actions what we're doing, the effect of it starts falling away from us, and we continue doing. The beauty here is it's not that you become you get into some kind of a samadhi and you forget your world or your family or your job. No, once you reach that state, what that metaphor of the Upanishad says, you continue doing it but with a totally different perspective. So the question of challenges, what we are saying, remains as long as we think that we are different and the Lord within us is different, and it's me who is doing it, the ego within us. I am doing this. I need to do this. I need to make somebody happy. I need to ensure that I provide for my family. I need to do this. So I, in a very small way, not the I, which Atma Vichara or the Atmic inquiry requires. It is the small I, the ego within me, which keeps on moving. So the day we are able to move on this path, then the challenges cease to exist for us. We continue doing it. Now we can say that, okay, by talking this, it's all nice to hear this parable or metaphor, whatever you call it, but I have issues to sort out. I need to look at things. Okay, there are two ways, again, I think, to approach this, which I am sharing what I am doing. I am also going on this path, so I am sharing. It's not that I am sitting on the high branch and talking about it. One is to pray to Swami, not in a, for better phrase, insisting or saying, please do, that kind of a pleading tone. No, praying to Swami, consistently praying Swami, and leave it to Swami to do it in its own time or whenever he thinks it's fit, because at the end of the day, it's the Lord who knows what is to be done, when it is to be done, to whom it is to be done. Or the other way is to completely identify this metaphor, because what they say is whatever has been mentioned in this Upanishadic statements are all eternal truths. There is absolutely no second thoughts to it. This is the destiny of the man, and it has been put into this Upanishadic texts, which is what they say as Vedanta. So, and very fact, a great saint and sage like Adi Shankaracharya has taken effort to write a commentary so that a common man can understand. And Swami repeatedly has quoted about Adi Shankaracharya and about all these things. Every discourse of Swami, you can see whether Swami makes a reference of anybody else or not. Adi Shankaracharya will form almost many discourses of Swami. Swami will refer to him as having worked towards this goal. So taking something like that, and Swami, again, it's not that I am deviating. Swami himself in all his discourses, if you were to say, I will, after this talk is over, I'll just share a couple of discourses of Swami to Brother Deva and Rajesh. Maybe they can circulate to all the members. These discourses were given by Swami in 1960s and 65s, where he has spoken extensively on this subject about it's a beauty of it is once I started onto this kind of inquiry path, in my case of 2005, I stumbled upon, rather than use the word stumble, Swami ensured that these kind of discourses of Swami kept coming to me, because I understand now that Swami has spoken about this topic extensively in 1950s and 60s itself. And by the time the normal mortals like me have come, he has come down to very, 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 very ground level. And he has been talking about very basic things after that. But actually, if you see some of these discourses in 1960s and 50s, and this is all there well documented in Satsangh Speaks. So there are volumes and volumes of Satsangh Speaks where you can find. But I'll forward a couple of wonderful discourse of Swami where he talks about it. And other day also we spoke about the prayer of surrender. That's also Swami's own words, which is there in Western Canteen outside, as I mentioned to the EHV students. That also helps in situations like this when we are talking about challenges and everything. If you surrender to Swami and keep going out our life, automatically things, when it has to happen, happens. Now in this context, talking a bit personally, in my case, well, I have narrated to Kathmandu members long time back, but I'm just sharing it again. There happened a situation in my life after I passed out and everything. I was thinking, because I was offered a kind of a partnership in a new business and entrepreneurship, which we wanted to do. This happened way back in 94, I think 1994 or something. And it was Sai Devotee. He was up from Delhi, a very close family friend. So he said, okay, let's both join together and do a business. And he drafted a partnership deed and everything. And we decided to meet in Vrindavan. Swami was in Vrindavan at that time in 1994. Have Swami's blessings, get the partnership deed blessed by Swami, and get started with our new life. So when I was coming to Vrindavan, and that Sai Devotee had already reached there and was waiting for me. I was coming overnight by train. Swami appeared in my dream. And Swami said, stop. Don't give up the job, what you're doing. And then Swami said, I'm repeating, this is Swami's words to me. I know when to make you talk, where to make you talk, how to make you talk, and what to make you talk. Take Padamskar. So Swami gave Padamskar. Next day I came to meet this devotee of mine, and friend of Swami's devotee, the family friend of ours. I narrated to him this dream which Swami gave, and I told him, I don't think we should go ahead. And his belief in Swami is also so perfect. He said, perfect. He just tore that partnership deed then and there, before Swami's darshan started in Vrindavan, dumped it into the dustbin. Chalo, let's both go and have Swami's darshan. We just went and had Swami's darshan and carried on our way. Today, the Sai devotee lives in Australia, but it was a wonderful guiding point at the right time. Whatever Lord wants, once you keep that kind of a rapport with Swami, again, I'm just sharing what I told to the EHV students. We need to keep Swami like a wallpaper in a computer. Whatever work we do, we just minimize it, and the wallpaper is there to be seen. Same way, Swami is always there in our mind. We cook, we play, we work, we do bhajans. Once it is done, it is Swami who is there in the mind. So that's point one. And point two is always that we start seeing Swami behind everybody who loves us. It can be our Sai Center members, it can be a mother, father, brother, sister, anybody, any relation we see anybody talking to us lovingly, we get attached to them. But actually, it is not the human being who's doing it to you. It is the Swami who's there behind them. I always have taken it like this, because this is what Swami has taught. And also, this is what is, as I mentioned to the students that day, Swami Yogananda writes in the book, Autobiography of a Yogi. So it is the Lord who is loving you through all these people. So we start seeing Swami behind everybody. Then also we have a constant touch with Swami. Point 2 point. And point 3 is, as I told the young brothers and sisters, can we treat Swami as accessible to us as we would treat all the social new gadgets which have come into our hands? Like we call out for an Alexa, Bixby, or Siri. Swami is much more accessible to us than all these things. So if we are in this kind of a frame of mind with Swami, and we're in tune with Swami, at the right time, Swami keeps guiding. He may speak to us directly. He may give us a dream. And Swami has told that he doesn't come in a dream without his will. You can't dream about Swami. Swami comes in your dream. That's the right phrase to use. You are not dreaming about Swami. Swami comes in your dream because Swami has said this clearly. Or he can speak to you through a book. He can speak to you through a billboard or in informal discussion with somebody, or it could be a movie, it could be anywhere where you don't know how the message comes. The only thing is you just need to be tuned and Swami comes. That is one more way of leading a life by going with the flow and not being upset with the various ups and downs which is happening. Here, I will again just give one more metaphor here. If you are walking in a path, and let's say the path has lots of ups and downs, and it's dark, as we would allude to our life, where we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. None of us know what is going to happen the next minute. We are going on. A lot of uncertainties, a lot of challenges, and everything as you put it. But in that darkness, in that path which is up and down, when we carry the lamp in our hand, it doesn't make the ups and downs go away, or it doesn't make the darkness go away, but it gives us a light where we are able to see where there are ups and downs and where we need to put our feet and how we need to move ahead. So in a similar way, a Lord's name or Lord's remembrance or keeping ourselves in tune with Swami gives us the kind of a clarity and the brightness in mind to see what needs to be done, what need not be done. Believe me, it happens. So I'm telling with my own personal experience. So with this, I'll just quickly would like to narrate a couple of experiences, and I would seek the understanding of one Sai senior here. I'm doing this only for sharing a wonderful thing Swami did in my life. It's on no other intention. So while I was doing here, working here in Singapore, and my office used to be in Raffles Place, and I was banking with a bank. My company's account was with a bank, and we used to have normal transactions and everything going on, and the business was growing multifold at the time, and it was going on smooth. The bank per se had certain bad accounts, or I do not know. They had some bad situation with some other customers. And as luck would have it, a new gentleman came from overseas to take over the credit department in the bank where I was banking. And he just, as Swami says, when there is a mosquito, you apply flit. So it doesn't kill the mosquito which is biting you, even kills all other mosquitoes which is there in the room also. So he just applied one yardstick and he started looking at everybody with that kind of a microscopic thing, thinking that these guys are out to outwit the bank. And I just got swept under this overall thing which he was doing. And he put me in a very, very difficult situation, which I didn't deserve at all, not as an individual. The company which I was representing didn't deserve at all, because we were a very valued customer for the bank, and we had never defaulted or never had any bad experience. It was a wonderful relationship we had. But somehow this gentleman, and even though other colleagues tried to impress upon him, he just wouldn't listen. And he brought me to such a state of affairs one day that I needed to open an LC for a vessel load of cargo from China in those days. The transaction value was more than $2 million. I'm just saying this number only for, not for any other reason, just to $2 million or so. And I had committed to the customer, and this cargo had to reach Indian shores, and he just refused to open the LC, citing some technical thing. How much our other colleagues impressed, he didn't do. Well, now I would like to say that I had access to the head of the bank. I had access to the head of the bank, but I never ventured that path. I never went and took the matter to the head of the organization. I thought whatever happened should happen in normal course of events. That was but it didn't go. So it came to a point one day evening that I just broke down and I yelled at this gentleman over phone. And I say yelled, I just shouted at him because I was at my wit's end. I just didn't know what else to do here. So I just shouted at him and I banged the phone down in my office and just stormed out of the office evening 5:15. I had never left my office before 7:38 or 8:30 in the night. Just left the office, took my bag and walked out. To the astonishment of my colleagues and staff in the office, or maybe the way I shouted, even the next two officers would have heard my voice. I just came out. I didn't know what to do. I just came out to the road in Raffles Place, those days, Clifford Pier. I just flagged on a taxi. Now again, I have a wonderful relationship with Swami in Singapore. Heading a trading organization in Singapore, not a day went without having some pressure and thing. If it was not shipment delays, it could have been a foreign exchange fluctuations, something or other. It keeps, it's such a dynamic place, Singapore. You are never sitting and enjoying your teh alia or coffee happily. It never happens in sitting in a trading organization in Singapore. So I have a wonderful relationship with Swami. I continue to have it. Whenever I am in this state of mind where I'm really confused, when I used to hail a cab, a white Mercedes Benz will come there. In Singapore, you can hail. If that guy wants to stop, he'll stop. You're not calling for the cab. But in my case, it was an indication to me that yes, Swami has come, kind of thing. This I can tell you hundreds of examples over the time I spent in Singapore. So the cab came, so I realized, okay, Swami is into the picture here now. I got into the cab. I sat. He asked me, where do you? Since I used to live in Marine Parade, I said Marine Parade. So he said, you want to take ECP? I said, no, you go by Nicole Highway. So he started driving. So the vehicle started moving. Just perfect silence. It's a very rare sitting in a cab in Singapore that you don't chat with a cab driver. So that cab guy, Chinese guy, was looking to me through the rearview mirror. I was sitting in total silence, just absorbed in my own thought. He also respected it and he kept quiet. We kept going, Nicola. Then when he was about to go towards Mountbatten Road, I just said, take the left turn, the old airport road. Just take a left turn here. So he took. We kept on coming. Then I said, Ceylon Road, other side. I said, take a right turn here. He took a right turn. So came to Ceylon Road Temple on a weekday at 5:45 or something. I said, stop here. He asked me why. I said, no, I get down here. Then he looked at the temple. So he smiled at me and said, so you have decided to come to the temple then. Very cryptically made the statement. I said, yeah. I paid him. I got down. I just went in. It was absolutely nobody in temple on a weekday evening, 5:45. Who is going to be there? So I went into the Ceylon Road Temple. And evening, if any of you have participated, I would urge you to participate. I'm sure they must be continuing this tradition even now. 6 o'clock, they do a Deeparadhana, they say in Tamil, the kind of Aarti they do for all the shrines. 6 o'clock Sandhya time, they do that. So that main Pujari was there in those days, very, very pious soul. I still remember his face. He looked at me, I was the only devotee in the temple. And he started the Aarti for the main Vigraha there, Ganesha and Senbhaga Vinayagar. He did that. And then he went, in that clockwise, doing to all the shrines. He came to Muruga behind. Then he came this side, Devi, then Nataraja, everything. He again came back, finished the final Aarti. I was the person going around behind him. He was doing it. I walked along with him. I finished it. He applied Vibhuti to me and everything. I just went and sat in one corner. Still nobody in the temple. And in Tamil, they use the word Oduvar. Oduvar means the person who recites ancient Tamil texts in the evening after this session of Aarti is done. So that gentleman, that another priest, he was reciting some very ancient Tamil texts, over the mic. I can understand Tamil. So when he was reciting this, it made a very, very deep impact in me, because what he was reciting is the highest Vedantic truths. All the old Tamil scriptures, if you see, they speak of very, very great Advaitic Vedanta. They are all great Saivite devotees, so who have written, and even Vaishnavite devotees also, very, very high, deep texts. So when I heard that, just tears came, because the pressure of having handled this for the last few days, battling with the gentleman and the kind of situation I put myself in, and having yelled at him now, how am I going to do my work? And I can't expect him to be friendly to again do things. So tears came, and I just sat there drenched in tears, maybe what looked like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I just prostrated, got up and went home. My wife and son were surprised seeing me at home so early in the evening. Played with my son, had a dinner, slept, not knowing what to do. Got up in the morning, went to the office early, went and sat there, not knowing how to proceed here, because it's not about losing the business. The issue is about losing the confidence of the customer. Their entire factory will come to a standstill. It's a very important ingredient for them. And it just upsets the entire Apple. And what am I going to reply to my board or anything? It's very critical situation. So when I sat there, this is what happened. Next, it's just to this day, I have no explanation other than using the word complete mercy of the Lord. Around 8:45 or 9, I went very early to office that day. A tall gentleman walked into my office. He came to, he saw I was sitting in my cabin. He just introduced himself, came and sat. I could make out that he was an European. And he is introducing that he is so-and-so. I'm not getting into the name. I'm not taking any reference. So he introduced himself. He was a head of a bank, European bank based out of Singapore. I mean, their branch was in Singapore. It was headquartered in Europe. So he came and sat, and he said, "No, I heard so much about you. I've heard about your company and everything in the banking circles and everything. I was just keen to meet you." And he was the CEO of the company, so the bank. So we just started talking. Then I took him to the boardroom. I just offered him a cup of coffee. We started talking for almost half an hour, generally about trade, industry, and business and everything. And then as he was talking, and I could make out they were also into big commodity funding and everything. He just said casually that if there is an opportunity of joining hands, please do let me know. I'll be very happy, because after all the discussion. Then I said, thank you very much for that. But if you're keen, I have an offer on hand. Would you be interested? He asked me, what is it? So I just told him, this is the thing. This transaction is there, which I need to execute. Would you be interested? He just heard me out. He said, okay, let me get back to you. He just walked out of my office. So he must have come around 8:45, and 9:20, 9:30 he left. 9:30 maybe he left. I left it at that, and I just went into my rumination. Now, how am I going to handle this? Within 10 minutes, a lady came. She was a manager of the bank from where this gentleman came. She introduced herself, and she said, "How do you know my boss?" She asked. I assured her I have never seen him or met him before. He just walked into the office. She smiled. "Nola, how can it happen? My boss doesn't go like that." I said, "No, that's what happened. Actually, I don't know." So, okay, she sat down, just give me the details. So I opened up all the documentation. I showed her everything. And she saw that, okay, fine. Okay, now I'll come to the crux of it. Those of you who are into banking and trading, you'll understand what I'm saying now. She said, okay, fine. What is the collateral you would like to give? Because it's $2 million. I mean, you just can't open an LC trusting. I said, no, I can't give you any collateral. She was taken aback. Then, can you give me a board resolution? I said, sorry, I cannot give you a board resolution because my chairman is out there in South Africa and some, safari. I don't know where to catch him now. I don't have time for all those things. This vessel has to leave from China within another 48 hours or something. So it has to be done today, now. No collateral, no, because I am not an account holder there. I don't have any association in the bank. So how do we do this transaction? I said, genuinely, I don't know. But since he asked, I told, if you can do something, I'll be grateful, I told. So she just went back. Within 10 minutes, she called me over phone. She said, okay, I think it's amazing to me, but my boss is agreeing. Can you give me something on a letterhead? I said, that I'll do it. On my letterhead, I am also a director in the board. I can put it in a letterhead and just sign it. I can't have anybody else sign. I'll have to sign. As a director and CEO, I'll give it to you. That I can do it. Whatever format or whatever terminologies you want, like affidavit or whatever it is, I'll give it to you. That's about it. It was a back-to-back LC. It was around $2 million. They just went ahead and opened. They opened it. The transaction went through, and even before the document could be negotiated, miraculously, I just sent the Xerox copies of the document to my customer, and he also, realizing the critical situation, paid up the money even before the original documents that we negotiated through the bank, and the money came well before, and I could close out this entire transaction and be done with it. And the beauty of this entire situation is I never met this gentleman after that. And I never interacted with this bank officials after that. They also never came and met me. They made their commission out of this thing, but normal circumstances, they would have come to continue the relationship with the customer who has been good with you, or I should have also gone. We didn't do both. And this entire transaction was done without me stepping into that bank at all. Again, this is the unbelievable part of it. Sitting in my office, in my cabin, Swami arranged everything for me, and it got done, and such a huge transaction went through. And the board could never believe when I could go and see. My chairman of the board was a Swiss gentleman, and he is a director on Credit Suisse. These are all very world famous economists, these are all people who do loan syndication for countries, not for corporates. So that is my chairman sitting in Zurich. So he couldn't believe in his life that a European bank went ahead, did something like this. And when I told him the name of the bank, he was stumped. He said, I don't understand, but it's something they are out of ordinary. He said, and anyway, and after that, of course, the head of my bank, he called me. He said, you should have come to me. Why did you do this? And then, of course, he saw to it that the person who was creating trouble was overruled, and my relationship still continued with my existing bank, and we went ahead and did much, much, much more great business. But this is one example I can give you about how when you come to a challenge, and then Swami steps in and just makes the path smooth. And because human mind cannot think about a solution, but it is a God. When he decides to give a solution, he does the solution. So this is on this experience about meeting a challenge. And I would like to just narrate just one more experience. I think I'm running short of time here now. Just only one more incident, experience I could share. This happened when I was heading a manufacturing organization in India. This is almost around 650, 700 workers were there in the manufacturing unit, and these workers were unionized, trade union. And we were into so many verticals. I was the head of this organization. We were into so many verticals. I don't want to get into the technical part of it. Now, the union, while you have a local union leader within your company and everything, they will owe their loyalty to a very big union leader based out of Chennai in Tamil Nadu. This factory which I was heading was in other part of Tamil Nadu, in a place called Coimbatore. Now, this gentleman is a union leader, was in his 80s, and at that time, and very, very senior union leader, and very well known all over the India, and especially in South India. A man who had brought down to knees huge corporates. Unimaginable huge corporates have been brought down to their knees. Very tough negotiator, very tough competitor, and a man who had taken panga, we say in Hindi, who had taken up the kind of fight with the chief ministers of the state. I mean, you forget about the corporates, chief ministers of the state, and he had that kind of an history and very, very legend in his own way. So he was, this union, which is then my company, which I was heading, was linked to his organization based on. I started off in a very, very tough way with him, because for him, from where he was looking, I was not even the size of a fly in the room, because genuinely so also, because I was no match to him in terms of his experience, stature, and the way he was handled. And so his attitude towards me was like that. But thanks to my background and my faith in Swami, I just stood my ground. And I, without being egoistic, I just put my foot down in occasions, and I had brought the relationship to that thing that he has to deal with me at an even level, even though I may be the age of his maybe grandson, or maybe you can say a very youngest son, if I were to put it diplomatically. And he has to sit and engage with me. He can't expect me to do his bidding. So while my predecessors who were heading the organization were bulldozed into do it, because due to their own compulsions they couldn't do, but I made it very clear. So that brought in a lot of rubbings and everything. And dealing with trade union in India is not a joke. We are not talking about very calm and regulated kind of environment. So things can get out of hand, and when I say out of hand, the worst case scenario can be fatalities. And you can even have the entire thing burning up, going up in smoke. Anything can happen. You understand? It's I'm not getting into the again details of it. So it is not. But I held my ground and I went like this. When this was happening, I had recruited a lot of youngsters, very energetic people to head production, do quality, and all these things. Organization to going towards a vision which I had for this organization to go ahead and. So one particular youngster was very, very talented guy, very skilled guy, and it was in a very crucial department which I was part of the company. Now there in that department, one union guy, this worker, he broke a component, very critical component, which was to be supplied, which will affect my delivery to a very huge customer. When I say it's again as a huge European major was my customer. And this will really upset the entire rhythm of the relationship and business and future everything. He just broke it, and not only did he break it, he just threw it into the dustbin there, and he just walked out after the shift got over, without informing, with a total careless manner that he doesn't care. So when the next shift people came, they saw that and they were petrified. I mean, the delivery was due and this is what happened. So the matter was escalated to me immediately, even though there were layers. They immediately rushed it to me. It was evening, 4:35 in the evening, because the day shift got over at 4:30. So around 5 o'clock, I was informed. So I immediately called the production guy and said, just call that guy on the phone. Because again, in Indian parlance, you don't call a guy when he's finished his shift and gone. There are lots of do's and don'ts of that. I said, nothing doing, just call that guy and ask him what he was thinking when he's doing it. How could he do it? Try to find out. That guy acted tough and everything. So now this is the situation. People are waiting for me to make one false step where the guys, the union can take an upper hand and subjugate me and run the show the way it was done in the past. But here I was in a confrontational situation. I thought for a minute, prayed to Swami, and I realized if I don't take a call, or if I keep quiet, I'll affect the entire morale of the youngsters whom I've recruited to work towards future. So I just took a call. I said, call the industrial relations guy, because since I was handling this union guy in my own way, I had ensured that the industrial relations department did not deal with him directly, which is again not the norm. I said I handle it one-to-one. So I took the entire responsibility with them right from beginning. So when this incident happened also, I called the industrial relations guy, asked him to quickly draft what has happened and send it to the union leader in Chennai that this has happened, without getting into the decision part of it. Just keep him informed first up from our side. Next day morning, I just told the security, don't allow this worker inside, make him stand outside. Now, this is a direct war tactic. I didn't go through so many steps you have to go through as per the Industrial Disputes Act in this country and everything. I said, put all those things aside, make him stand outside. Because I had an infinite confidence in Swami and myself here. I'm telling you that Swami is guiding me here. And I said, I had also established enough rapport with the workers because I was there with them morning, afternoon, evening in the factory. Even midnight, night shift, I used to go to the factory. So they had seen me work like that. So I had the faith that people will understand what I'm doing. So I just made him stand outside. Immediately, the neighboring factories and other areas, they got petrified because the same union was there and a lot of factories around. So their union leaders came and they tried to approach me. I said, nobody, this is our internal matter. Nobody enters here. Ask them to do whatever they're doing on the road. Nobody can come in. So I took the next strong step. And third, when the message had gone, that I was waiting to see how the senior union leader in Chennai is going to respond. I had a gut feeling that he will take a stay away kind of approach, because he will see that was my gut feeling. I can't explain. Nobody will again do this. It's unconventional what I did. But I had a gut feeling that he will stay away, letting me handle it the way I wanted, whatever I wanted. I bungle and make a fool of myself and I get, that's your headache. Or if I am able to come out of it unscathed, that also he will leave it. So I realized he may come out with some decision like this. So it was a gut feeling. And as I anticipated, he kept a hands off. So people were so much turmoil next day. People were, in the industrial atmosphere, when this happens, when the production is going on, you're 500, 600 people and you're in an enclosed space. You understand? So there was a pressure tactics going on to scare. And I said, all the staff, you carry on. Anybody congregates anywhere, tell me, I go and meet them straight myself. Again, this unconventional. This is a complete confidence I had in Swami, with which I said, I face these guys, I handle them myself. So twice, thrice during the day, wherever I found 10 people congregate, I used to just walk and ask them, what's the issue? Shift is going on. What are you guys doing outside here? So they used to just go. So I never allowed any crowd. But I respected the man who was standing outside the gate. When the tea time was there, I asked them, call him inside, give him the tea. When lunch is there, call him inside, give him the lunch, and ask him to go out again. So I made him to understand that I respect him as a human being, but don't agree with his attitude. So that guy also, to his credit, he got the hint of it, but he stood outside in the sun from morning till afternoon. So by late afternoon, the people realize this is getting out of hand if we leave it, because they will totally go down now. Because it's forget about my coming, because I stood straight, the head is not interfering. So their level will go down and I'll get an upper hand. So they came to a situation. It's all mind games, I'm sorry if I'm detailing so much, but I'm just trying to say how Swami guides in all this. It is a mind game. So they'll know that my hand will get stronger after this going ahead. So they had to resolve it for their own sake so that they come out with a face-saving situation. So the entire union team within my company, they came and requested me, sir, please go sort it out. I said, nothing doing. So what he has done is a mistake. What do I go and tell the customer? So I made them literally haggle with me for half an hour, 45 minutes. At the end of 1 hour, I said, okay, I do it only on condition. They said, what? Ask him to give me a written apology that what he has done is a blunder. He will not repeat it. And if he repeats it again, he is to be fired straight. He has to be suspended completely. Ask him to put it in writing. So they were stunned. Sir, what you're asking is a legal document. I said, so be it. What I'm asking, if he can give me that, I will file it in his file. I'll allow him inside. In no other condition, I'll do this. Again, they broke their head and they saw that they have no other way out. Then again, by 6 o'clock in the evening, they came, they requested, because nobody went home also. They didn't know what to do. So they came, and this guy was standing from morning 8 till evening 6 outside. So they came, sir, please do not insist on his suspension part of it. Can we just give an apology letter? I said, fair enough. I trust him. Put it in writing and give it to me. They put it in writing and gave it to me. And then it was put in the file. I myself called him inside, stood face to face with him in front of all the people, union. I said, I respect you for your skill and everything, but you can't take the organization for granted. This is not your money or my money. So I gave him a proper instruction there and then took him inside. And it got resolved, life went on. To this day, people never understood how, say, I am not a veteran in union relationship and everything. I came in, I was handling this organization, but I did what nobody else in that area had done. They were under the iron control of the union and the union leader. But the way I handled it and sorted it out, that union leader, the senior person, became my best friend. He went to such an extent, the next visit when he made, he called for the union meeting amidst all the workers and he said, I am not your leader, he is your leader. This is how he introduced me. He may be a management representative, but he is your leader. I will never accept anything other than what he says. And I'm sure he will take you all onto the right path. He told, and thereafter, none of disputes or conflicts in the organization never ever went to him. They might have informed him from their side, but this local team got to know that it was only me who has to solve it for them. So we had a very amicable situation where we built a wonderful labor relationship after that, and everything went on smooth. And so much so that the senior man, when he used to come, he used to meet big industrialists, but he used to always insist that the lunch he used to always have with me. He took a great pride in coming and meeting and sitting with me and having lunch, and it continued as long as I worked in the organization. And even when I left, he was the first person to call me and express his anguish that I was leaving the organization and going. So this happened only by Swami's grace. And I'll tell you why I had this confidence of doing this and where this confidence came from. The confidence came from because when I was studying in Swami's institute, there was one very senior devotee. Again, some of the old devotees here might have heard about him. His name was Gopal Rao Garu. Gopal Rao, Sri Gopal Rao was the chairman of Andhra Bank in 1970s and 80s. And under his chairmanship, Andhra Bank went into a huge strike, nationwide strike, when Indira Gandhi was the prime minister. But Gopal Rao Garu, being a devotee of Swami, and Swami actually guided him to hold firm and not to bend to the demands of the union. And he did it. In spite of the prime minister pushing him, he said, no, they will come on track, and true to his word, after almost a long drawn union battle, the union had to listen to his demand, his command as a chairman, and they came back on track and it was resolved. And Swami was so proud that this man stood to the spiritual ideals which Swami had taught him, that Swami used to ask Gopal Rao Garu to talk to our students in those days and explain to us in detail how this union battle was won. So this was there at the back of my mind as to how, when situation gets tough, the man at the helm should have the confidence to go and stand in front and face it. So this was how I could face another challenge, which I could handle it by Swami's grace and come out of it unscathed by Swami's grace. Everything happened by Swami's grace, and I built on lifelong relationship with everybody. So I just thought I'll share these two things. I don't know if I have any further time. Brother Deva, what do you suggest? Do I have some time?
We are good on time. I think we're definitely good on time. You can go on for another 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, fine. Okay, so continuing this flow here, coming to challenges and everything, I just was, again, I would like to share one more incident. In the year 2000, 2001, 2002 and all, this Balvika students, what we call as EHV students in overseas, in India, Balvikas it's called, Swami's Balvika students, from Maharashtra, they come during Ashadi Ekadashi. It's a festival time, and that normally comes in July or something, June, July, August, around the time it comes. It's a very auspicious Ekadashi in Indian spiritual calendar. And these students, young students from Maharashtra used to come, and they used to enact a wonderful drama in Swami's physical presence in those days. So I remember one unforgettable play which they put in the year 2001, I think it's called Vande Mataram. I will sincerely recommend, I'm sure all the old Katham devotees have seen this, but for the youngsters and the current day EHV students, they should see this Vande Mataram, beautifully enacted, about patriotism and everything. And it was such a wonderful thing. And today, through this medium, I will show my gratitude to Sister Trusha. She lives in US now. She was a Balvika's guru, EHV guru, and a very active member of the Sai Center here. It was she who gave me the CD. I was not aware of this because so busy in my work, I didn't know about this event. And those were days where there's no radio, so I know all the social media. So you needed to have a DVD to see it. She passed on a DVD saying that this has come from Parthi, but I recommend that you keep a box of tissue paper next to you when you see this. I asked her why, because every time my father sees, he cries so uncontrollably. So I just multiplied that into 3 times. If my father can do that, you will be crying more than him. So keep this box of tissue next to you. I thought she's just pulling my leg, but I went through it and saw it. And towards the end, a scene comes where Swami is so happy the way they've enacted. He gets up and comes and he's interacting with the children. And the child, the girl who played the role of Bharat Mata, we call Bharat or India, it's always depicted as Mother India. So the girl who played that role, Mother India, she couldn't contain herself. The Swami was coming and talking, and she cried unconsolably, seeing her cry, it touched something very deep in my heart. That here, my country itself is crying when the Lord is coming. So I used to break down, and my son was a small kid. He used to see me. I used to cry uncontrollably for 10 minutes. Seeing somehow it made a very, very deep impact on me. Not once. I saw this time 100 times. All 100 times I cried. I'm sure even today, if I see that scene, It was very heart touching. Now the same team, then they moved on to the next year, they came out with another wonderful drama called as Namdev Maharaj. It's a great saint from Maharashtra. Now what I am going to share from that comes from this Namdev Maharaj's life. When they were enacting this drama, in between the drama, there comes a scene where Namdev Maharaj is a very great devotee. I'm not getting into details about the devotee. There comes a scene where the local Muslim ruler, in a bid to challenge Namdev Maharaj, kills the cow and says, "Can you bring this cow back to life?" It comes in the play. Now Namdev Maharaj is stunned. Then he immediately asks the Muslim ruler, "Give me 3 days time. I'll make the cow come back to life." And the Muslim ruler goes away. And Namdev Maharaj prays ardently. He is a great devotee of Pandharpur, Vittala Pandharpur. So he prays and prays and prays non-stop. At the end of 3rd day, Vittala appears and he brings back the cow to life. And the Muslim ruler is stunned. And he, I think the story goes on like that. So Namdev Maharaj asked Vittala, "What took you so long to come? Here I am crying my heart out and you left me all alone like this, Lord. And you took your own sweet time in coming." Then at that stage, Vittala says, "Oh, Nama." Vittala always calls him as Nama. He says, "Nama, it is you who told that you need 3 days time. So I had to respect the word which you had given. So I waited for 3 days to get over. And then I came and solved your problem. If you are told that I will solve it immediately and Vittala will do it immediately, I would have come immediately and done it. So it's your mistake. You have made me, you bound me with your word. And then you are finding fault with me. And after having taken work from me, I mean, Krishna will, they have the relationship of a friend, Krishna will, Vittala will tell him like that. So it's a beautiful dialogue, which made a very, very deep impact on me. Very true. Many times when we say, we think time frame. I mean, I'm not saying that whatever we think should happen immediately, but the Lord also responds the manner in which we pray and the way we go about it. Now, the same Namadev, when he had such a relationship with Vittala, but he had a conception in his mind that the world began with Vittala and ended with Vittala. He couldn't accept anything else. To that extent, he was little bit close-minded. So Vittala towards the end wanted him to come out of this also. And then Vittala tells him, "You go into such and such place to meet somebody." Since it's a command of Vittala, Nama says, "Why should I go when I'm having you?" He said, "No, you go." So he goes to that particular, I forget the name of the place where he goes. It's called Nageshwara in Gujarat. I don't know. So he goes to one place. So when he goes to the place, the person whom he is supposed to meet is seen lying down with his feet resting on a Shivlinga. So this Ramadeva is aghast. He says, "My God, how can somebody do such a blasphemous thing?" Even though he is not a Shiva devotee, he is a Vittala devotee. But still, his heart, so he goes and wakes up. He says, "Vittala asked me to come and meet you here, and here you are sleeping with your feet on the linga. How can you do it?" So that person says, "Oh, Nama, I'm very sorry. My legs were paining, so I kept it for resting my leg. Can you please move my leg this side?" So Nama thinks, what an audacity, but to avoid this blasphemous act, he takes the feet of the person and tries to move it somewhere. But wherever he moves, a Shivlinga appears to support his feet. So after 3 or 4 attempts, he realizes, "Oh, okay, my God, this is not what he thought of. There is some deeper meaning here." And sure enough, Vittala appears there to him. And then Vittala explains to him, this is the climax of this drama, which is part of the life of Namdev Maharaj. He says, "You had a misconception that Vittala alone was the name and form and everything. While it's correct up to an extent, beyond an extent, there is something which is all pervading, which is beyond this particular name which you're doing also. So you should be able to see the entire presence of the Lord in everything what you're seeing, in every form you're seeing, and not only in that one name and form." And the end, I would use the word punchline, which Vittala gives to him is, "You are mine, I am yours, and we both are one." they both will stand with their hands rested on each other like this, final scene in front of Swami, and they'll say, we both are one and the same. So very powerful message. Again, this discourses which I'm going to share with Brother Devan Rajesh, you'll see Swami touching upon this point in 60s itself. So what is expected, as I started off with this bird, two birds and the tree analogies, at some point of time, we need to be able to see and feel the presence, rather than use the word see, feel the presence and be in tune with the presence of the Lord everywhere and everything, in every place and whatever we do. So there is no differentiation between this is my kitchen, this is my office, this is my playground, this is my ECP where I'm walking, or this is my movies, or this is my TV. This is Katong Sai Center. This is Sandberg Vinayagar Temple. I mean, so on and so forth. Everything is the Lord's. Everything is one. There is no differentiation or compartments in life that this is spiritual and this is not spiritual. What remains are there is only one life, and the Lord permeates everything. This is what, again, in my understanding, this statement communicates. We hear Vedic chants every day in Prashantalayam or everywhere else, wherever it is. The statement which communicates as Antar Bahishya Tat Sarva Vyapya Narayana Stitaha. So the Lord Narayana permeates the entire cosmos, inside out. I mean, I'm just, it may not be the exact translation of what it is, but I'm just to communicate it, I'm saying. So the Lord Narayana permeates the entire cosmos inside out. So where he is there, where he is not there. So where I say that only when I have a challenge that I have to pray, or when I don't have a challenge, life goes on. No, constant connect, constant link with the Lord ensures that everything goes as per the flow, and we are able to connect with Him, and life becomes a song. And what we think as a challenge, or what we think as something which needs to be solved, need not be solved at all. It may happen by itself. Again, just I'll highlight this by one small conversation which was I was Prashant. So the person, uncle, what are you doing? He said, I'm thinking. Uncle said, thinking till the thought about this, what I'm thinking itself ceases to exist. He didn't say I'm waiting for a solution. I said I'm thinking till that in my mind itself ceases to exist. Not that I'm looking for an answer for this. Again, this is very beautifully brought out in various cultural texts. Is the Nandi, the vehicle of Lord Shiva. So wherever you go to a Shiva temple, you see a Nandi sitting there. He's sitting right outside, sitting in eternal wait with absolutely no want of, and with his gaze fixed on the Lord. And he's just waiting. He's just seated there. That's all. That is what is considered to be the greatest spiritual practice and greatest spiritual connect one should have with the Lord. So I think with this, I think I'll bring to this discussion to a close. Maybe I'll take it the way the organizers want to go ahead from here. Sairam, over to you, Brother Deva.
Sairam. Thank you so much. I don't know what to say. Thank you so much. I think you struck a very deep chord within each one of us through this sharing. The way you started with what stays with me is that phrase you said, we should live a minimalistic life to start with. And then the story of the two birds was just beautiful, how we're living our life without, going to the upper bird, which is Swami. And the story of the wallpaper that you shared from Paramamsa Yogananda, whatever that we do on our computer, whatever apps that we open, at the end of the day is the screen, or rather it's the wallpaper That's at the back. That should be there. I think again, talking about the challenges, how to overcome challenges with Swami. It's having Swami with us in our life. And also a great lesson that you taught all of us in management through your experience with the union. Really beautiful. I think it gives a lot of us a lot of courage, to go about in our daily life. If I probably may, and like we discussed, we'll probably open up with for some questions, if that's okay with you. Maybe I'll open it up to the floor if they have any question for Brother Venkatesh Prasad.
Yeah, I think Auntie Banu has a question. Sure, Auntie,
Yes,
go ahead.
Let's go with that. Yes, Auntie. Auntie, you're on mute.
Can you hear me, Sairam?
Yes, Auntie.
Okay, Brother Prasad, you have been talking about moving to the upper level, but we are all living in a family. It's like interlinked. It's very difficult to uplift ourselves to the upper level like the bird, How you have any suggestions? Because we are all like in the family, it's been like very difficult to move to the next level.
Actually, Sairam, nice to see you first, Sairam. So actually, see, here, it's only a metaphor, It's nothing about going up or down. It's just given as a metaphor that there in a tree, there is a inner thing which is there always, whereas we are just embroiled in what is superficial. Now, this is what is been achieved by Satsangh Seva organizations all over the world, when we are going for our bhajans, when we are going for all the Seva activities, when we are doing these EHVs, when we are doing all these things, it's all done to step back from what is your normal life and have a higher and deeper purpose in life. Now, going further, there are discourses of Swami that Swami looks beyond the reciting of Vedas or chanting of bhajans and the singing of bhajans, because he wants much more deeper thing. There are discourses where Swami has mentioned this, that he's looking for some more deeper connect. And at one instance, Swami, again, what I gave the example of Namdev Maharaj, Swami said, don't keep telling to Swami, Swami, you're my mother, father, brother, and all. Mother and father, keep saying, say, Swami, I am you, you are me. You should have the confidence to say that I am you, Swami, and you are me. So, and Swami also says, I am God, you are God. The only difference is, I know that I am God, you don't know that you are God. These are all Swami's golden statements, not today. He's been telling this for ages. So coming from a family perspective or something, everybody, that's what the problem with all of us is. We think that I am Venkatesh Prasad, I am having this family, I am having these responsibilities, I have to do this. Idea is that Venkatesh Prasad has to connect with the Swami inside and allow the Swami to do everything else. It doesn't mean that I leave my family, I do go somewhere, I do something else. Only thing is the change of perspective. How I am pursuing. Am I doing everything with the I-ness that I am doing it, or I am doing it seeing myself as Swami doing through me, as a sense of trusteeship, I think that is what I think one needs to aspire for. Nothing about giving up family or responsibilities or anything like that. It's only a question of changing the way we are looking at this entire equation. As long as I think that I am doing it, then I have a lot of problems, and I have a lot of, because my limited mind can think, because it will always keep coming up with the do's and don'ts, raga and dvesha, this is right, this is not right, I like this, I don't like this place is better, that place is wrong, I don't like this guy, I don't like this sister, I don't like, it keeps on going, because that's how our mind plays a trick. But whereas when we connect with Swami and see Swami and things happen as a flow with Swami, then everything becomes a play of the Lord. So we continue doing what we are doing, but it's only a matter of disconnecting ourselves from the situation and going about our life. I think that's what I would say. And I'll also just add this with one simple experience which I had, just to highlight this point. See, again, when I was a student, I was asked to be part of a drama which was to be staged on a birthday, Swami's birthday. Now, this drama, the scene which I was supposed to act, my role was very minuscule. I had to just say only one line. What do you mean, young man? This was my dialogue, that's all. So Swami used to call the scene-wise students into interview room and make us do a role play and spend time. I mean, for Swami, that was an excuse for spending time with us. So when it happened, as it is, I was a little bit down, playing minuscule role, and then Swami had not spoken to me for a few days. At that time, this was a big challenge for me. Swami was not talking. So Swami heard us out, and Swami was just reading letters while we just did the role play quietly inside interview room. So the entire scene completed. When we are about to go out, Swami suddenly looked at me and said, Swami loving is call us. It means the exact translation is he buffalo. He said, he buffalo. What did you play? I couldn't hear you. Now, this was the final straw on the camel's back. Here I am. So I started, tears started coming my. So in between sobbing, I said, Swami, what do you mean, young man? So Swami said, MD? I said, what do you mean, young man? Antena, that's all. Is that your role in the scene? I mean, to rub it into my thing. So I was, by now, I was all tears. I was just crying. So then Swami called the senior who was playing this, I mean, directing the entire thing. He said, give him a good role, let him act well. So Swami said that. So just to accommodate Swami's word, they had to change the scene. And now it became a double big problem for me. Now I'll tell you what is the exact problem. This role which was given to me was, I had to play a role, in the sense, scene within scene, you know. The scene is going on, so the entire scene will freeze. That means everybody is just as it is. I have to come and do a over-exaggerated kind of acting in front of the audience. I mean, when you say audience during birthday, you're talking about somewhere around 8 million to, and 8 lakh to 10 lakh people. You're talking about 1 million, 2 million people there out there. And I had, which was just against my character. And I was a very shy guy. I didn't have the confidence. And when I told the senior, I can't do this. What is this? You are asking me to do something impossible. He said, don't argue with me. Swami has told me, this is the role. You go ahead and you find your own solution. He told me curtly on my face. I mean, it was also good, not out of anger or anything. He wanted me also. He realized Swami is trying to do something. So Swami came for the scene to see a live, this thing, you know, rehearsal. Rehearsal he came. So I was petrified. Imagine doing it in front of Swami, such an exaggerated, arrogant role it was. So I was in real dilemma. Before the scene, my role started, I went and Swami immediately, hey. Swami shouted and gestured. I got all the more panic because what I had done was, in my hurry to go ahead and do it, I literally came to the edge of the stage and I was about to topple over and fall into the D section, which is there in front of the stage. So Swami had to stop me. Swami said, go and start again. So again, I went, and all the people were upset, you know, it was going in a rhythm, because for me to do, everybody had to again stop and start again. So second time when I went, I stood behind the curtain. This is what I did. And I follow this to this day in different contexts, different, but the basic remains same. I folded my hands. I said, Swami, I am not acting. You're acting. You're going to act through me. What acting I'm going to do, you should be happy. Because you are happy, everybody here else also should be happy. Through you, everybody achieves happiness. So please act through me. That's all I did. And I started off. I didn't even know how I went through such an exaggerated, arrogant role. I did it and finished it. And Swami, excellent. Swami was literally was praising it. I thought Swami is talking about the scene. Normally you don't expect. So I was looking around. Then I realized Swami was talking about me. The entire scene went on for 25 minutes. Swami singled me out and he said, excellent. And he praised me so much to heaven and earth. Such a wonderful actor I have never seen. And so on. So Swami said, come here, then gave me Padmaskar. I thought, what's happening? You know? And because Swami was so happy, all the dignitaries, VIPs who came, they, believe it or not, one by one they came to me, congratulated me, patted me on my back. These are all Vice Chancellor of the university and all the senior Central Trust members. I didn't realize what's happening. And then over a period of time, I saw all the students in the hostel, everybody coming and appreciating, brother, what a wonderful acting. Can you please act for us? Can you act? So I became an instant hit acting for them everywhere else. So why I went into so much detail is once we offer it to Swami and do it, Swami acts through us and Swami makes us happy and everybody else also happy. I'm sorry it took some time to explain, but I just thought.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think the Shamala has a question. There was a hand raised. Wondering, is this Auntie Shamala or sister? No, this is Auntie Shamala. Auntie Shamala, you wanted to say something? Just to confirm.
Sairam,
No.
Brother Prasad, so nice to see you. Sorry, I've lost my voice, so I'm unable to talk. But excellent sharing. Thank you.
Saram,
Sorry,
sister.
Auntie. Yeah.
Saram.
Brother Prasad, I have a question actually. You know, you've lived your life, your formative years in a very different setting. You know, with Swami being there, with the company that you have being, you know, so centered on Swami, so very attuned to Swami, very spiritual environment, and it shows who you are today. You know, and like many other Swami student out there as well. But you know, for youngsters or the teens, the youth, you know, who live very much, and I think I probably take a leaf from what Auntie Banu said. You know, they're very much in this world, and how do we encourage them, if I may say, to have that confidence to always rely on Swami to guide them amidst challenges. You know, their company are friends at school. I'm not saying that they're bad people. They're all good people, but you know, they've got a bit of a different life, probably. And they're just amidst so much of distractions today, the social medias and whatnot. How do we, you know, get them to sort of take a step back from this and plug in and be connected to Swami to guide them in whatever situations or issues that they're facing?
Okay, actually, see, this one is a eternal challenge for everybody. So, the point here is, again, I just reiterate what I just shared. This is again my own personal experience. I keep always narrating to everybody. See, the people with whom we are born are not there with us when we are studying. The people with whom we are studying are not there with us when we go to college, from the school to college. The people with whom we study in college are not there with us when we start our career. And that people are not there when we get married, start our family. And then we move on, so on and so forth. And as we age also, again, so we are living a life where there is no constant. It can apply to your own mother, father, brother, sister, everybody else. Where is a question of friends and corporate and everything else? Relatives, others. It's even your own mother and father also are not permanent. So with that in mind, one has to first get clearly convinced that it is only the God who is there with you right from the time you're born, and even before you're born, is guiding you into this birth, is taking you through, and is there when you're culminating the entire journey. This is Swami's word. Swami also tells about this matter. So there needs to be an urgency in us to connect to that one constant factor in life. So first we need to get this conviction. Now, how do we get this conviction? That is where coming to Sai Center, participating in bhajans, you know, having this kind of satsangs, or having EHV classes, or having interactions with others. I mean, this kind of a satsang which keeps going on helps you in getting rooted to the base, which is Swami. So that helps. Now, having said that, one has to always take life as it comes. I cannot always choose the circumstances which I want to be in, because the circumstance, again, I'll use Swami's exact words. See, Swami, sometimes, Swami, even when we were there with Swami, everybody didn't get the same physical time with Swami. The sense physical time with Swami was available. Swami didn't interact with everybody. So the extent to which he would interact with somebody and others was always only the Lord knew. So there was always a kind of angst among some students that why Swami is not talking to us. So Swami one day explained, see, God is only a postman. He says, what does a postman do? And he's giving an old village atmosphere. Huh? Don't compare with today's world where we have emails and everything. The old village atmosphere. When a letter comes to you from elsewhere, the postman comes to deliver to you. So when the postman delivers, this is Swami's words. Huh? Swami, he explained to us only. So the postman comes and delivers the letter. So the person who is there may or may not know how to read. He may not be literate. Okay. So the postman offers to read it for you. So when he's reading out for you, there may be some contents there which may be a little bit sad for you, or which may make you feel upset. So postman, while he is reading, he is not changing the content, but he will read in such a way that the impact of those words are not falling heavy on. So he completes it. So you cannot blame the postman for the content of the letter, Swami used to say. Similarly, Swami used to say, when you're born with the umbilical cord, kantamala, they say in all the Indian languages, kantamala. So when the child is born, it's born with that cord which connects to the mother. So the cord is nothing but your past karmic tendencies with which you're born. So when you're born, it says that you're born with this around your neck. So you have, before you're born itself, Swami told us, chosen who should be your mother, who should be your father, who should be a brother, who should be a sister, who should be a husband, who should be your wife, who should be your friends, who should be your enemies, who should be the people who criticize you, who should harass you, or who should make you happy. You have chosen all these things because your destination is finally towards God. So you have chosen all these things in your life to make you go towards that destination. So having chosen and being born here, you can't blame the God that I'm having this problem, I'm having that problem, I'm having this challenge, but it is chosen by you for your own spiritual growth. Okay, now the thought immediately which came in my mind, I was seated there, I'm sure many of my brothers would have had it. So what is the role of God here? So when the thought came, Swami said, yes, immediately replied, the role of God is something like that of a postman. You pray to God, you connect to the God. So what he does is, he doesn't change the scene, but he softens the impact for you when things go bad. It's like giving you a morphine injection or a painkiller injection. You may go through that experience without feeling the pain or impact of it. So that's why doing Namasmarana, praying to God becomes important, so that he carries you through the phases where you are not able to face it, or you start moaning that it is beyond your capability. So this is how Swami put it. So the answer here is, there needs to be a constant engagement with Swami. That's why I kept using the word, can Swami be more accessible to us than an Alexa, Siri, or Bixby? In today's generation, why I keep repeating, it's not that I use any of these three. I'm just saying, we use it with so confidence, all these things. So can he be more accessible to us than this? Yes. Can he be more accessible to us than a GPS I use in my car? Yes. Is the GPS going to guide my life, or it's the Lord himself who guides my life? So we have to just go to the core. That's why you have to keep seeing Swami behind everybody who is talking to me, who is loving me, who is hating me, who is harassing me. Everywhere we just see the Lord's presence. These are some of the ways in which one needs to keep doing it, to keep having rapport. And one major point here is, it's much, much easier to connect to Swami now than what it was earlier. Because earlier, even earlier it was easy, but the point was, we had an imagination that Swami in the form was there in Prashant Nilayam, and we had to make a journey of love all the way from Singapore, preparing it from January, February, and doing all kinds of sadhanas, and booked a flight ticket, went and landed there, did this performance, got a Parnam score, or had a good darshan with Swami, and then came back. Well, by itself, it was a wonderful spiritual journey and exercise, but The point here is there was a concept that Swami was there in that form, in that place. I need to go there and do it. But now Swami is there everywhere. He was there then also, but we were limited in our understanding. But today, when Swami is there everywhere, every place, go and stand in the Sanbhaga Vinayaka temple. He is there right in the form of the Vinayaka, which you see there. That Ganesha, which is there. It's there in the form of the photo, which is there. It's there in the form of the photo in your house. You got a photo right behind you, Brother Deva. Swami is there, sitting there and talking to us. So it's only a question of connecting it and feeling our presence. It's as easy as tuning in the Gold 90 FM, as I say, or the Class 95 FM. Just tune in. You just need to tune into the right frequency, and Swami is there. And you start seeing Swami, and you start connecting to Swami. In the sense, I'm not saying physically, it could be in any way. When you need something, somebody out of the blue comes and gives you something. When you're looking for something, something out of the blue comes and gives you. Total strangers may do it without any rhyme or reason. In fact, some of the experiences which I narrated to the AHP student, it was part of this kind of experiences only. So whom you don't know, whom you have never seen, just come out of, we may call it a coincidence. There is never a coincidence, it's only Sai incidents. Once you're in the path, everything happens as well. So we just need to have the conviction and start putting ourselves in this kind of tuning for us to get the maximum output out of the situation. I hope I've answered your question. I'm sorry, again, I took a lot of time to explain, but I just thought I should put it in so many words to communicate.
No, thank you, brother. I think the details are important. Thank you so much. Anyone else with a question? You can switch on your video as well. I'm sure it will please everyone, including Brother Venkatesh Prasad.
Should remember to take a group photo, hopefully with more cameras on before we end.
Yes. And Brother Nava is leading the way, which is great. Uncle Visu, yes, I think, yeah, Uncle Muni has a question. Yeah? Yes.
No, I just wanted to talk to Venkatesh Prasad. So we never met Swami in physical presence. All through we learn from you and others who have seen him and spoken to him. Probably we have been very close to him, and we always deem it as our own impression that you have been close to him and you have been communicating to us. You are a conduit pipe for us. You have been always conveying the good things to us, and whatever has to be eliminated, you have eliminated. So we always, it's a happy situation that you are here to talk to us almost every year whenever it is an occasion. We please do continue to do this and bring us together. We are missing this link. We are missing this link because of the COVID and other things. We are not able to meet frequently, but then of course we communicate with each other. But the essence is the spirit which we had earlier together. The moment there's a call, we all should come together and do it. That is slowly diminishing. Probably that is because the conduit pipe is not not enough, but there should be more conduit pipes to bring them together. So I request you to keep in touch with us and lead us in the same way as we were living together, and go ahead. Thank you.
Surely, sir. Actually, glories of the Lord. Actually, individual cease to matter, but actually glories of the Lord. But 100%, I relate to what you're saying. Nothing like having this beautiful family atmosphere, what we have here, Sai family. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Muni. Anyone with a question? Maybe we'll take a last one. I see Sister Shamala after a very, very long time together with Brother Puvan rather. Brother Puvan looking younger as well. Anyone with
Saram, good to see all of you. It's really wonderful to see all of you.
Sairam. Okay, if not, I think I will stop the recording.
1 minute.
Oh.
Chetan here.
Yes, Uncle, you have a question?
Just no question. Just to say hello to Prasad. 1 minute.
Okay, so Uncle, I will stop the recording because then we can move into the hello part of the session. Okay. No, so yeah, with no question.